Hello, today I'm going to do some backgrounds with Brushos. So I've got my tin of Brushos here. It's obviously my skanky bit of tissue that I've used to wipe over my pots. Yeah, so I've put pins in the tops of all of them so I can use them as like a little shaker rather than taking the lids off. That's a tip I learned from a class a while ago. I think I have all the colours. I've already taken out the ones I want to use today, all for this particular sheet. And I've also got spray water and gloves because they can get quite messy. I've put my towel down, as you can see. It's very, very grubby. But that is what I use it for, so inks and paints and all sorts are on it, and it's also protecting my desk and surrounding area. I am going to put gloves on. And I'm going to start with the black. Now this might sound like a bit of an odd colour, but it does have some lovely tones in it. So I'm just going to tip it, just shake it, tap it and shake it, and you can see that you've got a few sprinkles there. And I'm going to do the same down this end. It's very annoying that it keeps going out of focus. A bit more there. Right. I'm going to put all my colours on before I spray it. This is the Scarlet. And then next up is the Cobalt Blue. And these are not all of these are new. I bought them second hand, a lot of them. Actually I got a whole batch of them as second hand because it was a lot cheaper than buying them new per tub, and they've still got quite a lot left in them. And this is the Violet. Now I'm shaking them into lines, but obviously you don't have to, you can shake them anywhere you want. And finally the turquoise. There we go. And let's see what happens. Just gonna give this a spritz from quite a distance. I was going to take my spray a little while to work. There we go. Absolutely love this. It's so much fun. And you get such good effects. Now I can just push it down a bit because obviously it has buckles where it's got wet. So as you can see, this is the black down here, and you can see there all the different colours in that. And I'm just going to let them run a bit. And then I can dry it off and see if I want to add any more. Now what I can do if I don't like how much water is here or how much colour is just take some kitchen towel and just mop it up so it's not as wet or as strong in colour. I'll just put my gloves back on. So I can just sort of suck some of that up with the tissue. and of course I can take it to other parts of the card, and because this has got like a sort of pattern on it, a slight pattern, that will obviously transfer. I really like how the blue and the turquoise and the purples have all come together there. It's possibly a little bit sparse of colour down here, but I could add some more, so I'm going to take the black again. And just spritz a bit more water again from a fair distance. And you can see how wonderfully that reacts with the water. And you can obviously spray back on these to react bits, to reactivate them I should say. You can see that running there. Yeah, so that's just a test piece that I might come back to and add some more to. But I have got a project in mind. I'm quite liking how this prints off onto the paper. But it's a bit annoying because that does look like quite a lot of waste, so I don't know, I think I might be able to do something with that at some point. But I'm going to do another piece, and I think I'm going to go with quite a bit of that purple because I really did like that. This is the violet. And obviously I can do this one at a time, I don't have to put them all down. So this one I'm going to spray before I put any other colours on. So love that. So really using hardly any. Again, I'm going to spray that. So because my paper is already slightly wet there, that's already reacting. And I'm going to take the black next. And the distance that you spray it from makes a difference as well, because obviously if you're going close you're soaking quite a bit, and you're going to end up with big piles of water, puddles of water, which is fine if that's what you want, but the further away you spray it, obviously it mists more, so you don't hit so much of the powder, so it won't go into those big puddles. And lastly I'm going to go in the cobalt blue. Cobalt. Then I'm going to dry it, so I'll just move that down so you can see the blue up there. Yeah, so now I'm going to dry. I'm going to go in a bit more with this and just take some of the excess water off. Obviously you need to bear in mind that that is picking up my colour as well, so that's why it's slightly paler in the middle there. But I can always go in and add some more Brusho. Right, that bit is almost dry. I'm going to leave it and get it to dry a bit more off naturally. Okay, so I'm going to do another bit, but I'm going to do some stamping on it first with this IMALA stamp. This is the Rock Chick, and as you can see it is fairly big. I think she will just about fit on that way. Let's have a look. As always, I am opening my stamps from the top because I always find that the stickiness at the bottom eventually wears off. So, because obviously you keep opening it and closing it. So I just find this easier. And she does just about fit on there, like so. I'm going to use my Press to Impress stamping platform because obviously it is a big stamp, and you can get big acrylic blocks, but obviously this is a lot easier, and if I've got the tools I should use them. Right, let's pop that down there and pop her in place. That's good. So a lot easier to pick that up with the platform. And now I just need to find the right ink pad. I'm using the VersaFine ink pad. Just try and move that over a bit so you can see. As per usual, my working space is shrinking because that always happens. Things build up around the edge and you end up with that tiny square in the middle to work in. Now, how fantastic does she look? This has to be one of my favourite IMALA stamps, I think. I'm so pleased I was able to get her the last time. Right, that should do. Take it over. Just shut that before I put my elbow in it. Obviously I don't need to press too hard because I can just go back in, but if possible I like to try and get a first impression. And I think she's done. And then I'm going to put some clear embossing powder on her. So rather than put it over the whole image, I've put it to the side because it's quite a big image, and just hopefully that the other, there we go, that'll catch on it as it goes down. And once again I have forgotten to use my anti-static bag, but I don't think that's come out too bad actually. Can't see any excess powder. Right, that's now embossed. And next I am going to sprinkle some Brusho. Right, sorry if that was an interruption, but yeah, it's just my hobby, so it's the joys of having everybody working from home. Right, yeah, so I'm going to try some crimson around her hair. I'm quite pleased with that, and I'm going to leave that to dry off naturally, and then I'm going to do another piece, but I'm going to do this one slightly differently, but I am using the same stamp. Right, now I am going to do what I said earlier, and I'm going to paint with the Brushos. I am going to use an acrylic block, and I'm going to sprinkle my Brushos onto that and use a paintbrush to colour in the image. I've got one of these Derwent brushes that you actually fill with water. It has got some water in it. I'm going to see how this goes because sometimes they let too much water flood through. First of all, I'm going to take that violet colour because I really love that colour. There we go. And I am going to sprinkle a bit onto my acrylic block. Don't need much at all because I would rather go back and add some more than have some waste. I was so eager to get on with the colouring that I haven't actually heat embossed this one. So I don't know, I mean I'm just having a play anyway, so we'll see what happens, but I might end up smudging the there, you see that I've finished that, and it hasn't, still keeps having problems focusing, it hasn't smudged the ink, so that obviously has dried quite well on this paper. It's normally one I would use for embossing only, but like I say, I was so in such a hurry to get colouring that yeah, I rushed in without doing it, but good news is it hasn't smudged, so that's fine. I'm probably going to carry on doing this and then I will show you the finished one at the end. I have finished colouring it with the Brushos. In the end I decided to print another image and emboss it because this just looks a bit flat, I think, but I might use it. I've got one or two ideas of how I might use it, so it won't be wasted. But this is the one that I've heat embossed after I stamped it, and you see I've coloured it with the Brushos, using them just like paint, and you'll see how vibrant those colours are when they're laid down as a solid colour. And now I'm going to cut her out and make a card. I've added some Brushos to this card base, and what I forgot to mention earlier on is if you leave this to dry naturally, obviously it will dry completely differently to this, where obviously I've blown with the heat gun, it's obviously blowing the water around, I've mopped it up and things. So depending on how you dry it will give you a different look. So on this piece I have used sea green, emerald green and leaf green, and I've used ultramarine, turquoise, scarlet, yellow, crimson and violet, and I'm hoping that that will tone in well with my image there. This is now dry and I think it's going to work perfectly with the image that I've coloured as well. I do need to add some sentiment, so it's a birthday card, but I don't want to just put happy birthday. I found this set in my woodware stash and it has dream big and always sparkle, which I thought was quite nice sentiments as well. And I'm going to use my block to do those. Now I've got a really oversized block here, which is just daft to be honest, but it's the nearest one, so and I don't really mind if it's not dead straight, and I need to just position this to see. Now I'm going to put the happy birthday there, so I think I might put the always sparkle up there. That will pop nicely, I think, off that yellow there. And what I need to do as well is find the embossing powder, which I appear to have hidden from myself. Honestly, I've got so much rubbish sitting beside me. Well, not rubbish, but stuff. Just stuff. Ah, there it is. Okie dokie. Yeah, so I'm using the always sparkle first. Going to put some Onyx Black VersaFine ink on that and pop that there, I think. Perfect. Sprinkle a bit of this. And from that same stamp set I'm going to use Dream Big. This time I'm going to pop it down the side here, I think, like that. Let's just pop her on and just check that that works. I think maybe there into the blue would look best. And then from this stamp set I'm going to use the happy birthday. I want to add the name as well and probably her age, because I think she'll like that. She's got an unusual name, so it means that it can be personalised. I'm now working on the stenciling. I'm just finishing off the number 12. I'm using Zig Millennium pen 005. And I'm just doing the outline with that one because I'm a bit precious about these pens. I've taken them to a class before and somebody used them on wet ink and it destroyed the nib. So instead of scribbling or colouring in with this, I'm using Stabilio because I've got more than one black of these and they're slightly tougher. I abuse them a lot more and they seem okay about it. I think I'm happy with that. So you see I've added the name and the number, and I have used my Lou Collins stencils. Yeah, so it's these ones here, New Collins brush stencils, and I've used the numbers on that one, and the letters were from these two sets here. So you get sort of I think you get four different types of the letter, which is nice. And I worked backwards as well, so I made sure that I'd got enough space. So yes, I started with the A, went that way just to make sure that I could fit it in, and all the while I was lining it up with the image. Okay, so I might have been a bit 3D foam pad happy on this, but I just want to make sure that it supports the whole figure and there's no sort of bowing anywhere. And again, I'm going to put some blobs of glue on the back of these as well before I stick it to the card. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a thumbs up and a comment. I love to read them. And until next time, stay safe and cheerio.